Hey everybody, time to start work on the 12-string tail tuner build. I decided that I needed to get a second build going here so that I could have something to do while I'm waiting for stuff to dry on the first build. So it's time for the tail tuner. I thought long and hard about the design. I'll try to keep this short. And I came up with something super wicked cool. But once I started laying it out, it just didn't work dimensionally. You ended up with a guitar that was like a body blank, you needed like a 4-foot body blank. It was, alright, let's see. If you look at this is what I ended up going with for the shape of the body. Basically, it's just one of these kind of paddle type things, but it also has this guard bar here because the tuners would be sticking out on that side and you don't want them to hit your leg. The super wicked idea I came up with was basically something that looks kind of like this, but in a 12 string with tuners on both sides, and then a guard bar that kind of came out and went like that. But once I laid it out, it just wasn't really practical. But I think it will work for 6 string, so I'm going to build one. But that's another build. So for this one, I decided to go back with more of the straight geometric 50s IKEA modernish kind of a shape. And for the wood, I'm going to be using the cedar. I'm really looking forward to this. I think cedar is going to be a real nice quote-unquote tone wood. So, and this should be theoretically straightforward. I've never done a 12-string tail tuner before, but I've done 6-string tail tuners, and all you're doing is putting, 6 more tuners on the other side, and up at this end you got 12 string throughs instead of 6 string throughs. And for parts, I've got a 12-string bridge, tune-o-matic. They don't make them in roller. At least not that I found. I've got a brass 12-string nut someplace in here. I got a brass 12-string nut, and I also have a 12-string tail piece, hardtail piece, but I'm probably not going to use this. I mean, the only thing I could do would be like put it up there. That's probably not going to be used. I just grabbed it. It wasn't expensive, $3 or $4, something like that. So let me stop hanging off of the camera like a drunken sailor here. Yeah, there's the nut. So, pickups. Oh, if you look here, let's get a little closer so you can actually see. This square here, that's where the EQ is going to go. So it is going to get an EQ, and I'm thinking a quad rail, just a single bridge quad rail and an EQ for the electronics. I want to save the other pickups that I've got for doing that 6-string tail tuner diamond thing that I just showed you the sketch of. And on that one, I'm going to combine that with the interchangeable pickups using the JST terminals, they're called. Japanese solderless terminals, JST connectors. Yeah. But anyway, that's another build. I'm rambling already. So on this thing, I think the next thing I need to do is, and because of the fact that since I couldn't do the wicked bad looking one, which I would have done, in metal and black hardware and stuff, this one's going to get cedar and a natural. I'm going to try to dye the neck to match the wood, and I'm going to try to go gold on the hardware wherever possible. So the next step is to see if I've got 2 sets of 3x3 or a 6L and a 6R, in locking gold tuners. So I'm going to go fish, and I might actually have it. I keep taking locking tuners off of the guitars with headstocks and replacing them with ultralight tuners. So I'm generating a few sets of locking tuners that are waiting for tail tuner builds. Well, no tuners. Time to go shopping. Okay, ordered up 2 sets of 3x3s off of eBay, locking gold. $19 a set. And eBay beat Amazon on delivery time by about 2 weeks for the same price. This is the best price for both of them. And these should be they should arrive within 5 to 9 days. So that should work. If I actually need a tuner before then, I can use something else temporarily. So back over here, I didn't film it, but I took my 8-foot long cedar plank and measured off the correct size for the body blank and set it up on a couple bar stools outside. I mean, the thing's as long as the shop is wide, so it was about the only way to have at it. And then I just used the circular saw and zzz, buzzed it right off. So I think you've seen people use circular saws before. So yeah, so that gets us a body blank. Next thing I need to do is mark out a center line, because it's all about the center line. In fact, I think, no, I haven't done that yet. And then transfer this over there. I was looking through my notes, but nowhere in my notes did I actually make note of what all these sizes were, so I'm going to have to just measure it out and see what they were. But yeah, that's next. The general overall plan is up here. I'm going to do some kind of a string through thing and leave the shoulders, cut off the headstock, or maybe do some kind of decorative thing. Could do that. And it's going to get the full whammy with the trapezoid and the triangular heel. And other than that, it's a pretty standard build. It's got 12 tuners instead of 6 and 12 strings instead of 6. And other than that, it's a X6 kind of a thing, more or less. Basically, it's a 12-string version of an X6. Well, I was going to start transferring this outline over onto the blank, but since it's occurred to me that I've got all this real estate here to work with for something decorative, whatever I want to do, now I'm going to have to go ponder on that for a bit. So, got to come up with something cool that'll like work with that shape of a body and will complement this shape, this body shape, and will look cool. And I think that's about all the design criteria there are for it. For the neck, for the finish, and I'm thinking of going maybe some kind of I might just leave it totally natural. That's not looking bad. I'll have to see what it's like once it's been reshaped, but if it's looking good, I could leave it natural. And that might look good with the cedar. It's got a beautiful fingerboard on it. Beautiful piece of rosewood, so yeah. Quite pleased about that. Yeah, I'm gonna go ponder headstock designs, shapes, whatever. Okay, I thought about it. I think what I need to do is I need to put the 12-string nut on, because that'll show me where the slots are, and that'll tell me more or less where I want my string throughs to go up here. And then lay out all the string throughs, and that'll tell me what I've got left to work with. So, going to check out putting on this nut here. Turns out that this is a 42 millimeter electric guitar sized nut, and this is a 49 millimeter acoustic sized nut. So this isn't going to work. Not no way, no how. If you actually look at this nut, they put a 6-string nut on a 12-string neck, or a neck with a 12-string headstock. So that's not going to work either. Now, I was looking at recutting it, but I worked out a spacing that works for it, but it'd be a real mess. So I went looking online for one, nothing on Amazon, nothing on eBay, but, well, it would seem that nobody makes a pre-slotted 42 millimeter nut in a 12-string. So, I mean, I tried Fender, I tried Stu Mac, I tried another one, who was it, WD Music, which was also recommended to me by American Musical Supply. All these folks have are you know, nut blanks and files, so that's not going to get the job done for me. There's no problem with, you know, cutting my own. I could always do that if I want. But I've actually worked out the desirable spacing to give me 3 mil from the edge to the beginning of the strings on both sides. And it actually doesn't work out that bad. I can get the octave strings 1 mil spacing, and then I could actually squeeze about 6 mil between each run of strings, so that won't be too bad. I think the approach I'm going to take, if you look at this nut, I'll get the camera down here. Take a look at this nut, and this thing, the slots on it are way high. Way high. So, what I'm thinking is the string throughs will go up here, and then guide pins, and then just sand down the nut to make it a 0 fret, and then rely on the guide pins in order to get the proper spacing and keep things in place. And, well, that's one approach. I mean, I've got to take it down so much that by the time I'm done taking it down, either this thing's hollow plastic and I'll cut through it, or I might actually just be able to recut this nut, or another similar nut, that kind of an idea. So, or suppose I could break bad and get like a Tusk XL blank in a I guess a black color, and recut that. Or yeah, those are about the only options. So I'm going to think about it a little bit. I think I've figured out what I'm going to do for the headstock. This part's just going to be where the string throughs are, and then from there I'm just going to have it come up like this in just a regular kind of a very understated shape, no curves or anything, just straight up to about here. And then I'm just going to hollow out the center, and that will leave the whole top of it will be kind of headstock shaped, but that will be a giant hanging ring, so that you can either hang it up on a peg or put it on a regular, like, guitar hanger thing that goes at the neck. And that way it'll still sort of look like it has a headstock. It'll be hollow, it'll have a big old hole in the middle, so it won't add a lot of weight to this end of the guitar. So I think that'll work. See, I got a sketcher someplace where I put it. Yeah, here we go. Like that. That's going to be a headstock, I do believe. This centerpiece I'll just cut out. And now I've got to figure out exactly how to deal with this nut situation. Okay, I ordered up a couple bone nut blanks and some fret slotting files from Amazon, and they'll be here in a couple days. So that takes care of that. Okay, I think that's going to do it for this video. So until the next one, everybody, have a good one.